Welcome to the NNN Show, and you know who I am by now. I I guess I want to talk about some of my latest mental health battles, which is always fun to talk about. Um, I tend to not talk about it as much. I have talked about it in the past, and I sort of feel like maybe the audience doesn't really care all that much, and I don't want to end up being, you know, harping on about it and carrying on about my own personal problems. And it's um, it's been difficult for me. Um, Normally the winter months is hard for someone with clinical depression and anxiety and that sort of thing. But I think this year's been a little tougher. Um, I I'm just not happy. I don't think I've ever really been happy. I think the last time I was really truly happy was maybe in the mid 90s when I was playing with Lego and there wasn't that many life responsibilities and things like that. Every day was a pretty good day. Um, and in recent times, I've, started to do studies, and the studies has been not hard academic wise, but just a pain in the ass. Um, just the course is a bit more tedious and annoying. I have to literally repeat the same subjects because the student code is different by the training organization that sets these things. So I'm literally doing the same subjects that I've done before from only 4 years ago, and I have to pay $1,000, which is through a hex loan or something. But I will have to pay that money back for doing the same subjects again, which is really annoying. Um, you know, and that's been pretty demotivating. I haven't gone to some classes because I've been too depressed and too upset about that. And then sort of, each class is sort of patronizing because they're rehashing stuff that you already know. And it's just really annoying. Um, so I don't know what the fuck I don't even know what to even talk about. I have all these things in my head, but I just don't know how to get them off. I say logically to myself, it's good for you to get these things off the chest, but I just find there's no real point. You know, and also too that I've got the heater on in here, brought it in here, and I got like a $600 power bill for keeping the heater on. And winter is not a good time for me. It's not a good time for quite a lot of people with depression and mental health because the winter months are bad for us. My mum died in August this month, 18 years ago, from depression, suicide. It was one of the winter months, the suicide months. And no, I'm not thinking about suicide or anything like that because I can't deal with any forms of pain. I even refuse to go to the doctors. I mean, health wise, I'm not particularly great physically. I know there's a couple of physical health issues that I probably should go and see a doctor about in the future, but it just takes up time and money. You've got to buy the prescriptions and things like that. And, I talk about the heater because, you get depressed and if I don't use the heater during the winter months, then the house is cold. Public housing, old public housing, where there's no insulation anywhere. So you get cold, and then you might get sick from that, and you get depressed from it even more because it's cold inside your house, the same as it is outside. But then you use the heater, and you get a giant power bill, and you get depressed out of that, and you can't pay it off, and it takes you months and months to pay off the winter bill. By the time you do it, the next power bill comes, and then the next winter bill comes. So you're always behind the eight ball. You're always, it's always a struggle. Um, and most of the time, I find that I'm just cynical and unhappy. That sort of that sense of humor. Just being sarcastic about things. And I'm just, and it is terrible my way of thinking because I've gone through all the five stages of grief. It's five stages of grief for happiness and joy. Those things that humans aspire to get, that they crave it, they need it. And I've reached the final stage, acceptance. I've accepted that I will never be happy. I've accepted that things won't get that much better than what it is now. My life will always be a struggle. It will always be just a struggle to pay the bills and try to make some sort of career yourself and just put yourself in as a clog in the clogs of society. Because that's essentially what society asks you to do, is to work, contribute to society, and just, that's it. I'm an atheist. There's no meaning in life. It's just, you exist. You just happen to exist for a set period of time. So yes, I'm unhappy. So what do? I don't know. Do I go and seek help? I don't think it's going to work for me, personally. I can sit down and do the counselling stuff, and they'll try to sort of change your mind frame of thinking and thinking about positive things and do hobbies and things like that. Fucking hobbies cost money, and I don't have it. Heck, I can't even buy new games anymore. And that's not coming from, I don't have enough video games. I've got like 80 games on the Switch. I'm more than happy with those games. But, I run a Nintendo channel and, it's expected for you to review things and get the latest and greatest stuff. And unfortunately, not every YouTuber is on the same platform. I don't have my own personal editor. I don't have a YouTube income where I can just go, yep, I'll just buy those 4 new Switch games. But, $250, $300 altogether. It just doesn't happen. The channel grows too slowly because I'm not very good at Photoshop and doing thumbnails. I don't have the resources. I don't have the social circle that other Nintendo YouTubers have. I don't really have any guests on the show because I just don't have anything like that. So I'm always on the struggle. And I think I can understand older people with depression as you get older. I understand why mum did what she did. And the reason why I think that one of the biggest killers of depression is it's not so the depression itself. It's almost like a cancer. Depression is the cancer of your soul. And it's time. Time kills you in the end. It just takes it's like someone scraping against your skin. It just goes through the skin to the flesh to the bone and you're gone. It's just more layers and layers of bad times, and you just get to a point where you get older and you just go, well, geez, it's never going to change. I enjoy doing YouTube. I enjoy doing writing, and doing childcare and things like that. But it always feels like a struggle. And I'm cynical about, getting help. I had counselling years ago, and I know about thinking in a different mind frame and doing hobbies and things like that. But everything costs money. Everything costs time and effort. And you get tired. You just get too tired. You just go, I can't be fucked. I just can't be fucked doing this anymore. And that's not from I'm going to go and, neck myself. I have no pain threshold. So I just decided to just live through the suffering, live through the struggle. and just put on a mask and try to be happy and have a more of a sarcastic um, personality, just sort of bear the brunt of it. And no, is that the best way to deal with life? Well, no, it's not. But it's the only option I feel like I have. I'm nearly 33 years old and still doing studies and just thinking, I'm probably not going to have a long-term career. I'm probably going to be doing odd jobs and things like that. And I have clinical depression, but maybe even, high functioning depression or seasonal depression, or whatever labels I want to put on it now. I just learned how to deal with it, but I know that happiness that I had when I was little is never going to come back. I only have an uncle and a cat left, and both of them are old. And it does scare me that, because I really, truly will be alone. And that makes it hard. Makes it so hard. But maybe, I don't know, I never had a family growing up. So, but it's so weird, I say to myself, you can't miss something that you never had, but you kind of do. And I think it's part of the human condition. It's part of the human soul, or something that deep down you do crave that socialness. You do crave that belonging to something, even if you're a minority group, black, white, gay, straight, whatever, you have this dumb craving of belonging to some sort of group, and being a part of something, if it's a family or sporting club or gamers or something like that. And I've just never fitted in anywhere, and social wise, it's just so hard. It takes an effort to do this shit all the time, getting out of the bed, doing the same thing every day, and you know the end goal is going to be disappointing. You're just working towards defeat. It's like a politician who knows he's not going to get re-elected. You're just counting down the days until the end. And I don't know. And I know I'm rambling. I'm taking a long time, but I just don't give a shit. And I would say that this hasn't affected the channel. I've taken time away legitimately because study time takes up a lot of time. Just a lot of fluffing around and doing things and that. And I'm just unhappy. And I've come to accept it. I've come to accept that now. And I will stick around doing videos and doing studies and maybe find employment. Probably might not have much hope there. Because I don't feel like I'm good enough at a lot of things. I'm sort of good at writing. I'm sort of good at doing videos and talking and things like that. But I have too much anxiety issues in work performance sometimes. I panic at times. Am I doing the right thing? And that voice in your head or whatever that comes from, the darkest corners of depression saying that you're just not good enough. It's the same voice that rings inside of a lot of people with mental illness. Some lucky people have multiple voices telling you that. Lucky I'm not one of those. Sometimes some people really go off the deep end. But with my somewhat intelligence, I'm smart enough to keep the hands on the wheel, but the car is not really in control at times. You just feel sort of motion sickness because the car doesn't really do that. I don't know. This is not the best fucking analogy. So I've learnt that this is just going to be the way that life is going to be, and I've come to accept it. And, there's a part of me that wants to change, but I just don't have the energy. I really don't. And I don't know what I'm going to do. You know, dealing with studies where I feel like I'm just treated like an idiot and I'm just redoing the same stuff. There's no real social things that I do because that costs money. You know, even traveling out on the bus, it costs time where I should be studying or doing something else like doing videos or things like that. And I don't know. I just, you know, and it pisses me off because normally I can solve most of the problems by myself. You have to, you know, I've always been independent. And the reason why I stay independent, the reason why I don't do relationships is that I don't know how to emotionally connect to people very well. And that's due to, you know, losing two very important female role models in my life, my mother and my aunt, you know. Don't touch the stove if it's hot all the time. Don't get close to people because they're going to drop dead on you. That's what I learned. Or they're going to do the wrong thing. You know, most people during my childhood just fucked me over and over. You know, my father failed me. That's why I love adulthood and in the independence. I get to control my own destiny. Unfortunately, even in adulthood, you can't really control everything. And that's the saddest part of it all. There's just not much that I can do about it. And that frustrates me because normally I can solve these problems. I can work it out, even solve other people's problems. But when it comes to myself, it's too difficult. It's just, what do I do now? What else is there to talk about? Um, I'm just generally not happy. It just pisses me off. I don't know. Maybe someone can tell me what I should be doing, you know. Do hobbies, Chris. Go counselling, Chris. It will make your life better. No, fuck me. I'm not, it's not like I'm too smart for the psychiatrist, for the counsellor, but, you know, even my budget's stuffed at times. I don't have enough money to even feed myself properly. Most of the time I don't. So I just skip dinners or breakfast and I go to studies just feeling stuffed. Because I know I don't have enough milk and you got to have to watch the budget on literally everything. Even buying a cheap haircut blows the budget out. And then I have to, you know, not get food over a haircut or or shaving or things like that. Just everything is a struggle. And I start to understand other people's struggles too. You know, you look at the world's gone to hell and politics and things like that, and you just go, well, everything's pretty much fucked, isn't it? And there's nothing much that you can do. And I know it's sort of like, oh, you get it. And as you know, even as a male, I think it is worse to have depression as a male because in society you get told to suck it up and deal with it. And that's why we're very successful at committing suicide. I'm not doing it, okay? Ugh, I hate needles and pain and stuff. But seriously, I hate pain. I just hate pain. Mental pain I can deal with very well because I've dealt with it all of my life. So I'm pretty accustomed to that. But even talking about it, it kind of makes you feel better. But then sort of laying it out on the table, it's like, wow, my life is pretty shit. And I don't see how that can really change or do much. And Whiskers have been a great pet therapy cat over the years. He's 12 years old this year. Who knows, he might stick around for another 10 years. He might only stick around for another 6 months. And that worries me too. So I thought I would get this off my chest and see what I can do. But But I thought I'd be honest with people about that sort of stuff. And I don't know what to do. So I've just come to accept it. I've just come to accept that things won't get that much better. You know, it's always going to be a struggle, and I'm always just going to be pushing shit up a hill. Nothing can solve my problems, unfortunately. So average life expectancy is like 78. Shit, I've got another 40 years of my life. Oh. Unless I get cancer at an early age and die, then, you know, hey, that might work out. But no, my life, knowing my life, I've probably somehow lived to 90. So, yeah. Oh well. I'll be around to do more videos and more creative stuff. I still sort of enjoy doing it. But, yeah, it's not fun. So we shall return you back to your normal programming, and that will be it for me. I'll see you next time.